the water is very important. Water, you need water. Human beings, if you don't have water, you're done.
We get our drinking water from Chicago, from Lake Michigan, and that puts basically more procedures, more routines to basically make the water drinkable.
Most of the cities along the Great Lakes use it for drinking water. So if it's contaminated, we have to clean it up before we drink it. So there's a concern there.
Yeah, the water quality in Lake Michigan, where we get our drinking water, I think you would have to say it has improved somewhat, in say the last 20 years. Not to say that it's perfect, because there's still a lot of pollution going into the lake.
It's not getting any better, I think is a fair statement. And if things continue the way they are, I'm sure it will get quite a bit worse.
What affects Chicago is that, if you swim in it or fall into it, you don't want to take too much water directly, because it's not sanitary.
There are three main threats to Lake Michigan, Lake Michigan's water quality. The first has to do with the way we use land within the drainage basin. There's also the airshed. We talk about the watershed of Lake Michigan. And then the third source is what we call invasive species. You've all heard about the Asian carp, of course, but there are many kinds of invasive species that find their way into the lake.
There's a lot of industry along the Great Lakes, especially in Indiana, in the Chicago south side. And they discharge, they're allowed by law to discharge tons of pollution into the lake, all the time.
Because there's so much agricultural activity within the watershed, there's a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus. These are fertilizing elements that wash into the lake. And they have an impact on the unconstrained growth of algae, which eventually depletes oxygen in the water and has another effect on fisheries.
Particularly high lead and chromium load in the fish. So that's a direct impact of, pollution in the lake.
I personally never go swimming in the lake, never wanted to or would want to, just because I know all the stuff that goes in there.
These experts say that the lake is unsanitary and a threat to society. But what does the public have to say?
My opinion of the whole lake in general is that it's pretty clean.
This year I think the water quality is very good. There's not a lot of trash in it that you would expect to be in a public area like this, so I think they've done a good job this year.
I think it's pretty good, and the sand has definitely improved over the years. It used to be much dirtier.
I base my opinion on what I see, and since I can't really see if there's bacteria in it, I don't really know about that.
As long as I could see the bottom of the water, I'm thinking it's in pretty good shape.
I think pollution affects everyone's daily life, and it's becoming a larger problem.
Oh, it's definitely important to care about the pollution in terms of how it affects people, animals, the fish, our surroundings. I mean, we live here, so we want to make sure that it's, really clean, and we want to do our best to protect it.
Taking care of Lake Michigan affects all humanity.
There's a gap between what's actually going on in the lake and what the average Chicagoan is aware of. The lake is in dire need of help, and you could do something about it. There are simple things you can do to be part of the solution, such as not littering at the beach or picking up litter that you find. You can also participate in beach cleanup events. The Shed a Crime is one of the many organizations that is working to clean up the lake. You can also stay informed about the water quality by visiting the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency website. Stay informed, get involved, and help keep our waters clean and beaches beautiful.